Greetings, all. Today we're going to talk about some of the systems of choice theory. So this is going to be a exploration to try to synthesize some of the information I've been learning, as well as to make sure and to check my understanding. When we look at the world, the real world, there's people, situations, and things that actually exist. That gets filtered in through our brain through the five senses: see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And then it goes through and we look at it and go, based on all these things that we observe, what is it that we're looking at? Because there's so many different things that happen in the world. It's open to interpretation and individual experiences and individual knowledge as to what we see. If there is an item with 4 pillars and a platform on top, and 2 more pillars with a side piece of material, I didn't do a good job describing it, but with your knowledge, that would be described in most people as a chair. So you learn what a chair is growing up, and you can see, oh, hey, that's a chair. Not all chairs have 4 legs. Some have a single leg with a bunch of wheels on the bottom. Some have some like a sofa where you actually just sit in. There's different things where you can sit down in, but if we're talking about a chair, if I tell you what a chair is, everybody's going to have an individual picture in their mind, but we're all going to be on the same page, is that it's something to sit down on. Now, if I show you different pictures of chairs, you're then, once you recognize that it's a chair, you're going to look at and see, is it a good chair or not? Oh, I'd like to sit on that chair. Oh, that's my chair. My butt would like that chair. And then there's some chairs you're like, I'd rather stand. I'm not going to sit on that chair. So that goes through then what we look at in the real world, passes through A, our knowledge filter, so we understand or acknowledge what it is. And then B goes through our value filter as, is this a good chair? Continuing with the chair example. Then, once we've gone through those 2 filters, everything that we know is then described as our perceived world. So everyone has a different perception on what happens. If I say, that's a good chair, you're going to evaluate that based on what you think a good chair is, and you and I might have very different perspectives on what makes a good chair. Everything we know, everything we sense, everything our life experience all makes up this perceived world. Now, in this perceived world, we then look at it and we compare it to our what our expectations are, or our quality world is another word for that. If I'm going to be setting up an office, I have a very specific chair in mind as to what would be a good chair for me. This would be very different, or potentially very different, from what's a good chair for you. And so in my quality world, the chair has armrests where I sit down. It has a fairly soft cushion, but not too soft. The back needs to be adjustable for lumbar support. I need to be able to adjust the angle of the back. I need to actually be able to adjust, when I sit down, the angle of where I'm sitting. I want to be able to lean. Sometimes I want to lean back. Sometimes I want to be sitting straight up with a great posture. I want to be able to roll around in the chair. The chair needs to have wheels. I want to be able to adjust the height of the back support. I want to be able to swivel in the chair. So there's a lot of detailed requirements for a perfect chair for me for office environment. So in my expectations of a great chair, or my quality world picture of a great chair, is very specific. So if you offer me a chair, I right away compare that to my quality world. It's like a scale. So on one side, I have what I perceive to be a great chair. And then when you offer me a chair, or I see a chair, I then place it on that scale and go, does it match? Now, more often than not, it's not going to match, because we can have very, very detailed, descriptive pictures in our mind as to what our quality world is, in this case, the chair. Now, if the chair does not match my expectations, the next stage in the process when we see the chair goes through our behavioral system. This chair ain't great. It's not matching my expectations. It's ratty, it's torn, it doesn't swivel, it's a basic chair, it has 4 legs, there's no wheels, there's no back support, or if the back support, it looks grungy and dirty and it's not going to hold me up. There's a couple things I can do. I can just say, no, I don't want that chair. I can try to fix the chair. I can make do with the chair. I can ask for a new chair. I can replace the chair. I can stand. These are all different behaviors that I can do to get what I want or what I need. Now, depending on what I do with it then depends on the output. Meaning, if it's my first day on a job and maybe I don't have the greatest self-confidence and I really need this job and I don't want to create waves, my need my need for survival of getting money so I can get food and get shelter and all those things, my need for that is higher than my need to be comfortable. So I might not say anything about the chair. I might just put up with that chair and be uncomfortable and maybe be frustrated every single day, but that frustration doesn't outweigh my need for survival and for getting money. If I'm a little more confident, or maybe I have more skill set on how to verbalize my needs or verbalize my frustrations or my whatever it is that I don't like about the chair, I might take initiative and go, hey, that chair actually looks rather uncomfortable. Is there any other chairs that I can use, or is this the only chair I can have? Or there might be some other things I can use to share or to get a different chair. But whatever we do, when we look at that scale, if it's not balanced or matching expectations, there is an action that comes next from that. Whether that action is inaction, meaning we don't do anything, that's still an action. We still choose what we want to do. How we behave then produces an output. It will either be a positive output, neutral output, or a negative output. And by those descriptive words, I mean what that impact to us is and how that feels to us and how that happens. So all of this behavior then makes up total behavior, meaning everything that we do in life, all our behavior is chosen, hence choice theory. Is that we choose our behavior because at the core, we're trying to meet our basic need. And so the basic needs be love and belonging. So friendship, companionship, caring, relationships, intimacy, connecting, that all falls under love and belonging. Power, so worth, acknowledgement, recognition, significant, skills, competition, respect, achievement, importance, being recognized. Freedom, choices, liberty, physical freedom, emotive freedom, like emotional freedom, independence, autonomy, psychological, having options, having the ability to move and have motion. Those fall under freedom. And then fun. So enjoyment, relaxation, pleasure, hobbies, playtime, learning, laughter. So those are the four, and then plus survival. Survival is the fifth basic need. So food, air, water, shelter, and then also emotional survival, which falls under survival of safety and security. So when you look at those needs, everything we do tries to meet those needs in our actions. With our behavior, there's four components. There's action, thinking, feeling, and physiology. So a helpful picture is a car, whereas the needs is the engine that drives the car. And the steering wheel is our wants and how we go after and direct it to get what we want. And then the tires are the four components. So on the back you have physiology, which is how the physical response. Then you have the feeling, which are the two back tires, and then the front are action and thinking. So when you think of behavior, when you drive a car and you turn the steering wheel doesn't change the back wheels. The back wheels follow where the front wheels go. So when you relate that to total behavior and the car as the analogy, your action and your thinking drives and steers the car, and the wheels in the back follow. And so when you're feeling something, that feeling isn't necessarily something you can control. For example, if I say, dude, you gotta be happy right now, be happy. You can't just automatically go, oh, I'm happy, and flip the switch. You have to think of something or do something which then stimulates the feeling of being happy. And so when you look at total behavior, the actions that you do and the thoughts that you think drive the total behavior, meaning drive a holistic picture of what behavior looks like. So if you're not feeling good or your body's not feeling good, like you can't just say, hey, lower my blood pressure right now. That doesn't work. You need to take action. You need to have calming practices. You need to meditate. You need to change your food, your salt intake. There's a whole bunch of different things you need to do, actions that you need to do that can change your physiology. So that's it in a real quick nutshell. So tying this back to the chair, I have a need to be comfortable. That's a physiology thing. I want my body to be comfortable. If I'm going to be sitting all day at a desk, I want to be comfortable. However, I can't just be comfortable. There's things that have to support that comfortable. I have to make sure my posture is right, which is an action. I need to make sure that I have, back to the chair, that I have the right chair. And so if I'm presented with a chair that's subpar, the need that chair fills for me is to be comfortable and productive, meaning I have energy and my body doesn't hurt. So I will take action and do certain things like present, hey, that chair doesn't work for me. However, again, the example of it's my first day and I really need this job because it's the only job I've been able to find and I don't want to create any waves. My need, which is the engine of the car, would be survival. And the need to not make waves and to keep my job would outweigh my need to be comfortable, or could outweigh my need to be comfortable, because it's my thinking. My thinking would be, if I bring something up about this chair, I will be chastised for it, or I might be labeled as a disturber, and I don't want to do that. I want my job. That's my thinking. So I can change my thinking and or change my action. Till next time, bye-bye.